Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. A while ago, I asked in my Facebook group what people would like to see me make, and one of the things was doing a Milky Way or a swirl tumbler. So that is what I'm going to be working on today. So I'm starting off with a 24-ounce plump that I've already cleaned and prepped and spray painted, and now I am putting about 2 mLs of my fast set epoxy on here. I'm going to be going ahead and getting the glittering done. Correction, this is a 30-ounce skinny that I got from the Stainless Depot. I thought it was a 24-ounce plump. And these are the glitter colors that I'm going to be using. It's a combination of glitters that I got from Rae Creations and Peachy Olive glitters. I'm going to start with the chunky first. I will let you know this is a different cup. Something happened to my recording, so I went ahead and I was making another one, so I recorded it again. So I started off with my Grace XL, and now I am sprinkling in a swirl pattern, pure from Peachy Olive glitters. Once I have that on, I am also going to go lightly with Bunny Suit from Rae Creations, and I'm just keeping this really light. For the first one, I'm going to do the chunkies first, and then once I have all of the chunky on there, I'm going to go back over again with the fine cut versions of these same glitters so that I can fill in any of the spaces and make sure that I have full coverage here. So now that I have these on, now I'm going to go in with Lost for Words, which is from Peachy Olive glitters, which is a pretty fine cut pink, just like a pure like bubblegum pink. Then I am going to go in with Grace, the fine cut version. And then once I have that blended, I am going to be going in with Skin of a Killer over the pure, and that's my favorite color. It's such a great holographic. And once I have this all on, I'm going to go ahead and put it off to the side. And now back to my original tumbler. I am going in with the parchment paper, and I am just getting a nice smooth texture with it, making sure that I have it all tapped down. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side for 4 hours and let it dry completely. And now that I've let that dry, I'm just going to go in with a coat of my glitter glue. What this is going to do is it's going to smooth it out even more, making sure there's no pokey bits when I put the epoxy on. It's also going to secure all of the glitter in place so that we don't get a lot of movement once we go in to get that epoxy on there. And I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side and let this dry for another 4 hours. And now I'm going in with 20 mLs of my Flynn Sisters Fast Set Epoxy. I'm going to go ahead and let this spin for about 2 hours, and then I'm going to go right over it again with 10 mLs of the Fast Set Epoxy. That's all I'm going to need to do because I did take the time to make sure that I had all of the chunky glitter smoothed out. Makes it a lot easier for me so that it doesn't take me forever to get to the process of adding the mica powders. So once this is dry, I'm going to take this tumbler and I'm going to sand it down really good. And then now I'm going to go in. I put together 20 mLs, and this time I'm using the Artist Cure. For the Milky Way portion of this, I wanted to go with a longer setting epoxy than the quick set or the fast set. So I put together 20 mLs. I'm putting 10 mLs onto the tumbler itself. And then I'm going to take 4 little mixing cups, and I am going to put, spread out the rest of the epoxy, so about 2.5 mLs into each of the cups. I am going to be using 3 different mica powders. One mica powder that I'm going to be using, 2 of them are white, but they put off 2 different kind of sparkles. One of them is Moonlight Begonia from Simply Sarah's. I am also going to be using Pop's Beard from Simply Sarah's. And then for the pink, I'm going to be using Lola, which is a pink that I got from Pdb. And in my last cup, I'm going to be using my Alumilite white epoxy dye. This is something that is going to be really important for the Milky Way. So I am going to make this very thick. I do not want this to be translucent. When I put this on, I wanted to get full coverage over the areas that I'm covering with it. So I am putting several drops in. And I'm just going to go ahead and put these off to the side and start working with the application of all of these micas. So I personally like to turn my spinner in the opposite direction while I'm applying these. It just seems to work better for me. You need to do what's going to work the best for you. So I'm starting with the Moonlight Begonia, and I'm just starting to sporadically place this all over the tumbler. The nice thing is that most of this tumbler is white, so I can pretty much put it anywhere, and it really does look good in the pink section as well. After I have this applied on here, I'm going to go ahead and put it off to the side, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the Pop's Beard. This is where you're really going to start to see the creation come to life. I personally have the hardest time with not being a complete control freak while I do this. Trusting the process is something that I'm not good with, which is why I generally steer clear of these kinds of tumblers. But I knew that I wanted to make this and get it into a tutorial. So this is Lola. Like I said, I'm just putting a bunch of it on. And the more that you work with it and the more that you spread it onto the tumbler, the easier the application becomes. It really is, the more you do, the easier it is. So because I'm a control freak, here I go. I'm going to be putting my fingers in here, and I'm just going to kind of be like spreading it out and trying to get control over it. And once I have all of this kind of spread on here, then I am going to grab the epoxy dye. And this is where you're going to get that Milky Way look. So I put a lot of this on. And I'm going to be heating it, which is going to spread it out on top of it. I think that's what really makes it have that great look when you see them when they're complete. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep just spreading this on, and I will let you watch the process. All right, now that I've got enough on here, I'm going to start heating it up a little bit. I've got a Wagner heat gun. You want to be really careful with it, because if you put too much heat on it, it's going to start to spread out kind of like a wave tumbler. And so you want to be careful with that. In fact, this one does do that a little bit, but I got it back under control. This is also, and here's where it's kind of like going off the rails a little bit, but I'm going to get it right back on track. I'll show you how I do that. But I did want to apply the heat to it because I really wanted to spread it out a little bit. I feel like that's what really gives that Milky Way look. And I'm just going to take my finger here and just kind of smooth it out a little bit and get it back on track with it being in the swirl pattern. And then once I have this on, I'm going to turn it in the other direction again, pop any bubbles, and then I'm just going to walk away and just let it do its own thing. I'm going to do that after I put just a couple more lines of the epoxy dye. I felt like some of the colors were kind of blending together a little bit more than I wanted to. I really wanted to have the variations of the pinks and the whites, so I just put just a little bit on there, and then I'm going to pop the bubbles and walk away from it. At this point in time, you could very easily add any vinyl work to it, decals, anything of that nature. I am going to do a little something to it, but I was just showing you the process on how I actually made the Milky Way portion of it. So here I am going in with 10 mLs of my Artist Cure resin. I'm going to let this spin for 8 to 10 hours, and then this particular tumbler would be all done. And rolling up here, I'm going to show you the finished product of the tutorial itself. The colors are super pretty. This was a trust the process thing. I love how all of it blended together, but still has some variations in the color. And then I did go ahead and I hand painted it. I'm in a class from Emily Breed with Rustic Passion Studio. I'll link that in the description. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see everybody again next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.